Hi everyone, Scott here. In this video, we're going to go through the Luminar user interface. I'll show you where all the tools are and how you generally navigate around the software. This is the Luminar interface at its most basic, a big, healthy sized preview and a few options across the top and right side. This is for opening and sharing images. You have your zoom controls. You can view masks if you have any applied, do before and after previews, and undo and so forth. This area here right underneath the Luminar logo will have additional controls depending on the types of tools you're using. For example, on the right hand side, we have tools for cloning and for erasing objects. As you use those tools, you'll get choices up in the top here on how to go use those or any additional options that might be there. The same for masking if you're doing masking. You'll get controls along the top that you can tailor your mask, your feather, your strength of the mask, and so forth, all here. So as you're using one of the tools on the right, look for additional controls on the top. And speaking of the tools on the right, we mentioned the masking tools here. We have transform tools, clone stamp, erase, denoise, and crop. So everything that you would need to do with your photo is all right there on the right-hand side, ready for use. Well, now you want to make changes to your photo. You can work either with presets or with sliders. Let's look at presets first. That's this pane here. Along the bottom, you get a look of all the different presets that are in a particular category. We can look at all sorts of different categories, and you get a nice, healthy size thumbnail of what your photo will look like when you apply that preset. And applying it is simple as clicking on it. The image updates, and if you wanted to, you can change the strength of that preset. And it is as simple as that. You can click a preset, have a look applied, and you can be done and move on to your next photo. Now, suppose you want to go further and tailor it. Well, that's the next set of the interface. We can close the previews and open up the side panel with our filters. Now, these are all the filters that were applied by the preset I selected. And I can go and change things. I can add vibrance. I can change saturation. I have total control over the sliders that were added. And I can add my own filters. At the top, I have a plus option. I can choose from a whole collection of different filters, and each one gives you a description of what it might do for your photo. This one I can add sharpening, and I can say, give me a little bit more of a sharper photo. Another nice feature of the UI is all of these filters can be created into what's called a workspace. You can take a set of filters you use most often, put them into a workspace, and then preload your filters with the filters that you use most often. For example, there's a landscape workspace that comes with Luminar, and it gives me the tools I might use for a landscape: color, temperature, tone, saturation, and so on down the line. You can create your own types of workspaces based on the type of photography that you do. As you get into advanced editing, you may want to look at your histogram, see the darks all the way to the lights, and make sure you've got a healthy distribution of tones. You may also want to venture into layers. Now, layers are very powerful, and you can do lots of different effects with layers. There are two types of layers in Luminar: an adjustment layer and an image layer. An adjustment layer is like another collection of filters. All of these filters here are in the first layer, layer 0. If I add another adjustment layer, I can add more filters. I have a new filters. I can create a new filter workspace or use something else that's a preset collection of filters. And this is all on this layer. That gives me the power of taking a particular style or look, keeping that on a layer, and then only applying that to certain areas of my photo, or only applying it at 25% strength. A huge amount of variety here. Blend modes, all of those types of things are in Luminar, and I'll show you those as we get into the more advanced videos. The other type of layer we can add is an image layer, and this is where you would go to your computer and select another image file. You might want to choose a texture, blend a texture in, or you're doing a double exposure look, something like that, where you need a second image to blend with your first image. You have that power in Luminar also. Finally, when you're all done, you want to save out the photo. We can save it, and you'll have this option about saving the history to the document. You can save all of your changes in a non-destructive way in a format that Luminar can reread later, and you can re-edit the photo. That's incredibly powerful. You can also export the photo in what you would expect, various formats, various sizes. You can choose to resize it on export. All the things you would expect from any type of package where you want to export something and share it with the world. So that is the overview of the Luminar interface. You can be as basic or as advanced as you want to, tailoring the interface to match your needs.